today on Destination Polaris.
We've got everything to offer you could possibly want.
We go wicked hard and ride 3 states in 3 days.
Last ride I did was 200 miles, so I mean, we definitely, we make some ground out pretty quick. It's an all-day adventure, though.
Watch out, New England, because there's 1,000 miles of trails, and we're coming to town.
The greatest challenge for us right now is that it's the best kept secret.
Destination Polaris starts right now.
Welcome to Destination Polaris. Today we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to ride 3 states in 3 days, and let me tell you, it ain't that hard to do. We're going to start off at Jericho Mountain State Park near Berlin, New Hampshire. Jericho is located in the White Mountains and is the perfect place to kick off this 3-day trip. So here's the game plan. We're gonna roll out right from the local dealership. We got rain in the forecast, so we're gonna get moving right now.
We'll travel out over to the Presidential Rail Trail, and then from there we're gonna go up over Smitty's Trail into Jericho Mountain State Park. Once we get into Jericho Mountain State Park, we're gonna do Smitty's Trail panorama to get some scenic views, and then we'll go across the Beaver Pond Trail. Then we'll work our way up to the scenic lookout at the warming hut at Jericho Mountain State Park.
We've got all the variations of terrain. We've got the foliage, we've got the wildlife, the mountains. So we've got everything to offer you could possibly want.
Well, right here you're looking at a trail junction with the information signs on it that tell you where we are and what direction to head to. All the trail system in New Hampshire, in the northern New Hampshire, has been mapped in GPS through the emergency services. So if there's an accident within the trail system, somebody can come into this junction and take these numbers that are on this post, call 911, and that'll tell them exactly where they are.
Chris and Clint are 2 main guys that help keep these trails open. And with 1,000 miles of trails, they keep plenty busy. You heard me, little old New Hampshire has 1,000 miles of connected trails. Bet you didn't know that.
Having 1,000 miles from our Canadian border all the way down to the end of our northern Coos County is something unique, and others are trying to emulate.
Named it Ride the Wilds, which was we actually got a group of marketing people together and put it together with the group of 20 nonprofits, which makes up Ride the Wilds. And we sort of looked at McCoy Hatfield and southwestern West Virginia as a model to model ourselves after.
The folks that have ridden there and have come here have told us they actually would rather come back here, and that they're planning their vacations to come back to the Northeast instead of going back down.
We thought we could become very unique in that if we could interconnect it all and make it user-friendly in all the towns also, which would mean that you could ride from your hotel or your motel or your lodging or your cabin. You ride right through the towns, in the towns, go to the local restaurants, go to local bars, go to stores, shops, service centers, and all that. So this is really unique.
Where we are in northern New Hampshire is, this was mill towns. The timber industry and everything else, and that's gone down a lot, and the economy has changed, and they're moving to recreation to supplement their economy. So starting last summer, it really all pulled together with towns saying we want in, and we got multiple 100-mile riding systems all connected together. So, we're just a year into it now.
When people come from the west here, they go, it's all on private land, basically, and it is. The only non-private land is Jericho State Park, and then there's a couple pieces of state forest that we go through in the county, but the rest of it is all private landowners.
The state really made a big investment in off-road vehicles up here. get to a weekend, and I mean, just the trailers that are heading north, it's unbelievable. Coming from, you know, Hartford, Connecticut, Boston, Manchester. I mean, everybody's heading north on 93 to come up to this Ride the Wilds 1,000-mile trail system up here. The businesses are thriving now. I mean, the economy is improving, all as a result of off-road vehicle riding, which is pretty darn cool. We're down in the Gorham, New Hampshire area, right down here, and we can ride all the way up to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. They got a real vast trail system up there. And what's neat up there is that they mark all their trails just like a ski area. You're gonna have green for novice, you know, blue for intermediate, and black diamond for expert, and we even have double black diamond trails when you get up into the Pittsburgh, New Hampshire area. I mean, some really technical riding. You can go from wide logging roads to very tight, twisty, technical trails.
So with many of the connectors now in place, it means you can ride from trail to trail or from town to town. And if you can ride from town to town, that means you can have lunch just about anywhere you want to. And we're stopping at one of the best, the Jericho Deli. Great sandwiches, I love sandwiches. Let's go inside. If they're doing bourbon steak and cheese, that's what I'm doing. Okay. We're gonna break for lunch, and when we come back, we're gonna check out Jericho's top spots. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Think easier. Think Progressive. And by Dragon Fire Racing. Feel the heat.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. We're in New Hampshire on a 3-state, 3-day ride, and now it's time to head into Jericho State Park.
Jericho Mountain State Park is 7,800 acres, and we purchased it in February of 2006. And since then, we've developed about approximately 80 miles of trail in the park.
The terrain here varies from beginner to expert. You know, and you will be riding gravel logging roads, old converted railroad beds along some of our scenic rivers, to single track, technical, climbing over rock, uphill, downhill, and everything in between.
One of the biggest draws is the warming hut. We have a lot of people that come up here, and this is their destination point. They come up, have lunch, cookouts, and whatnot. This particular spot is a huge destination point within the park. Lots of good scenery. You can see the Mahoosic Range over in the state of Maine from up here at the warming hut. A lot of our tourists that are coming in are from Connecticut, Rhode Island, which is the southern part of the state, so doesn't have this mountainous area.
All right, so this is our first and only falls of the day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This is Cascade Falls right here in Gorham, New Hampshire. And we just rode all through Jericho State Park and then into Success Pond area, and now we're down heading back to the dealership that we left from this morning.
Nice, this is pretty sweet, man. I mean, you can see pretty far up there.
And I guess that you can access it from up above, and I guess it's like 8 feet deep here, and so a little swimming hole for some. And
Are you going?
I am not going. It's pretty cold. We've got snow in the mountains
Seriously,
here.
you could cannonball right from here.
Yeah, I'll stick to the heat in the machine. Good day of riding and a lot of fun for sure. So perfect.
Yeah.
Where to next?
Where to next?
Yeah.
I don't know, where to next? Jericho blew up this past year when Polaris came to town for one of their Razor Experience tours.
It's incredible. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how good it is.
Fabulous new machines. Got to convince the other half to go buy one.
New York, so anybody that drives these is going to be impressed.
Oh yeah, this is going to be
They've done a good job. It is.
Fit and finish is, again, superior from the previous generation. You guys have a home run.
So you've got tons of trails, big events, and if you're really lucky, you might get to see some pretty cool wildlife.
This park has been really good in the past 8 years, producing a lot of moose. I think we've counted 42 at one sitting in the 7,800 acres that the state has. Northern New Hampshire Guide Services, we've been running for about 16 years now. About 5 years ago, started doing Hunt of a Lifetime, where we take kids with life-threatening illnesses out any kind of hunt that they want to do. Most of them like to do the moose hunt. We've been very successful over, the past 5 years since I've been involved. We used the Polaris Ranger crew was awesome just to get the kids out in. Fully enclosed, we got the heater. Kind of a little bit spoiled, a Jeep that, it's like a Jeep, but it's great for the kids and great for us. What we do is once we spot them, we get them out, and once we get them down, Clint issues us a permit so we can come into the state park and remove the moose.
No moose today on this ride, but maybe we'll see one tomorrow in Maine, because that's where we're headed next. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is brought to you by Super ATV, your trusted source for high-quality off-road parts and accessories.
We're totally lost right now. I thought we were going to Maine. We're not in Maine. We're in Mexico.
So it's day number 2 of our 3 states and 3-day trip, and now we've moved over to Maine, and it's my first time here. Pretty pumped. Today's ride takes place near Roxbury, Maine. It's a small town, but it's got some pretty sweet trails.
We're doing the Bemis Loop outside of Roxbury. We just went through Coos Canyon. We're gonna go up over the hill and then back down by Ellis Pond. It's pretty fun because you get to experience a lot of different terrain. We have a lot of different stuff where it's not just one discipline for the machine to go through, all the time.
So our ride today will go about 100 miles and make one massive loop. Got some locals with us, so it should be pretty fun.
I ride out here quite a bit, yeah. Yeah, I did the loop quite a bit. Last ride I did was 200 miles, so we definitely, we make some ground out pretty quick. It's an all-day adventure, though. There's definitely an opportunity for people to ride that many miles. The trails are pretty well marked. You could definitely get pretty far out there.
The riding opportunity is limitless. There are trails and there are destination towns. The whole top part of Maine, they call it the crown of Maine, is something else.
You get to ride a lot of different terrain. We get a lot of mountains and a lot of rocky terrain. We also get the dirt roads. There's a little mud here and there. We get to experience a lot of different stuff.
Lots of miles, a lot of good interconnected trail network, a lot of great towns wanting you to trailer up and come see them and come visit.
Seems out there, but it's actually closer to a lot than you think. You know, it's not too far from, you know, New York City even. So it's nice to get up here. You know, it's pretty scenic up here.
It's getting really good up here. You know, 10 years ago, there really wasn't a large offering for people to ride machines like this. But as the sport has grown, the local clubs have really grabbed hold and run with it. It's a big part of our lifestyle. The local clubs do a really good job. A lot of the areas we've been riding through today, you got some really active clubs. They do a really nice job. I've ridden a lot of the different areas we've been across. This particular stretch I haven't been on.
So I'm guessing maybe you didn't know about this water crossing. Funny, you just said, are you going to ask me some questions? And my first question was going to be, am I going to die? It looks a little leery, but you've done this, I assume.
Yeah, I've gone through here numerous times. We have had a little bit more rain. I think it's a little higher than normal, but it's doable. Yeah, we should be fine.
That was, you know, a little nerve-wracking, the build-up to the water crossing. You know, it looked a lot worse than it was.
There's always something new to find in the state. There's just a lot of wilderness, a lot of trails.
Yeah, it's been amazing today. Yeah, it's getting better every minute that goes by.
Coming up next, we complete our 3-day trip by heading to Vermont. Bring your rain gear, because it's going to get wet. You're watching Destination Polaris.
Destination Polaris is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses, the fastest growing premium polarized sunglass maker in the world.
We've got everything to offer you could possibly want.
The riding opportunity is limitless.
Welcome back to Destination Polaris. It's day 3 of our 3-day trip, and today we're in Vermont. You know, we've ducked the rain for the last 2 days, but today looks dicey. So we're gonna head out right away. We start our trip, like a lot of other people do, at Marty's first stop in Danville, Vermont. Meet at Marty's and then take off from there. I don't even know who Marty is, but I wish he could do something about the weather because it's bad and the forecast looks worse, but we're gonna still make a run at it.
We are northeast of Vermont, about 20 miles, 25 miles from New Hampshire border, about 45 miles from Canadian border, so northeast of Vermont. We're up there, yes. Beautiful area.
You can take in a lot of different things in a day's time riding up here.
Well, I think it's some of the best in the country because we have a wide variety of what you can do.
We have everything from brook streams to, like I said, class 3 and 4 roads to mountaintops to, you know, we've got mud on some of our trail systems. You can take in about anything you want in a day of riding up here. We have connector trails on town roads, class 3 and 4 town roads that connect us to different private properties where we have our trail system. Our club's new here. We're only 4 years old, so we don't have a huge lot of private property trails, but every year that is growing for us, and that's what we're trying to do is get more private property trails and off-road trails. We've got between 150 and 200 miles right here that you can ride.
One thing about Vermont I will say is there's so much that's hidden still, that's not publicized. That when you get there, get to the local community, you'll find some real sweet spots that you'll enjoy.
One of those places is this local campground where you can stay the night and then ride directly onto the trail. Camp, ride, eat, right in town, they make it pretty easy.
We're actually sitting now here in at Sugar Ridge RV campground in Danville that they allow ATVs right to your site, so they get a huge crowd. It's a beautiful campground, some great riding, good views. We're up top of some mountains, just nice trail system.
We're doing what the snowmobile clubs did in the 70s, trying to get a trail system to connect all of the communities together on private property, and you know, it takes a lot of work.
We're working very hard to make it easier to get our registrations in line so people can travel here. As you talk to Craig, the economic benefit is starting to become a reality. I mean, people read reports and hear things, but until they actually hear their cash register ringing, they don't really get excited.
This guy is such a comedian. We did 3 states in 3 days. That's just the beginning.
Next year, number one is going to be the signage and improving things for us. So getting from point A to point B is great, but getting there without being lost and providing all that further information for the people who come visit us, that's going to be next, and then making a few more connections. We still have 1 or 2 more pieces to tie together, and that's going to be next year and the year after. We have existing connections into Maine and Vermont today. So you can ride from New Hampshire up into northern Vermont and Canaan, and then in Maine you can hit the eastern border and ride over toward Bethel, Maine. So it's just formalizing those connections with our partner states.
Really, the greatest challenge for us right now is that it's the best kept secret.